The whole world keeps living as if nothing is happening. But what if I told you that the seven trumpets of the apocalypse have already started to sound, and almost no one has noticed? Sounds insane, right? But here's the thing. It's not me saying it. This has been written, hidden in plain sight, for thousands of years in the most mysterious and controversial pages of the Bible. And here's what's even more shocking. The signs are happening right before our eyes. Yet, no one is talking about it. Not the media, not the churches, not even those who should be warning you. Tell me, haven't you felt it? Something strange in the air? Disasters, climate chaos, wars, economic collapse, a wave of collective anxiety, a world sinking deeper into darkness. What if I told you? It was all described with terrifying accuracy in the sound of the seven trumpets from the book of Revelation. And before you brush this off as religious talk or some wild conspiracy, let me give you an honest warning. If you stay with me until the end of this video, you may never see the world the same way again. Because here, you're not getting theories, guesses, or shallow interpretations. What you're about to discover is a deep, raw, and maybe even uncomfortable truth. But it's necessary. Because understanding the meaning of the seven trumpets isn't just about understanding the apocalypse. It's about understanding what's already happening to humanity, and more importantly, to you. So get ready, because the first trumpet has already sounded, and what comes next is far more intense than you can imagine. What if I told you that the first trumpet of the apocalypse isn't just some distant prophecy, but a mirror reflecting what's already happening right before our eyes? Sounds unsettling, right? Picture this: hail, fire, and blood falling from the skies. This isn't just symbolic, it's an urgent warning. When the seven trumpets begin to sound in the book of Revelation, the first blast is a clear signal. 1/3 of the earth, trees, and all green grass burned. It feels like something straight out of a disaster movie. But here's the kicker. Maybe it's not as far off as we think. Look around. It doesn't take a prophet to notice. Wildfires consuming entire forests, cities suffocating under smoke, and climate extremes flooding our headlines. This isn't just the apocalypse written in ancient texts. It's a reflection of what happens when humanity turns its back on what it was meant to steward. Nature is screaming. And let's be honest, how often do we drown out those screams with the noise of our busy lives? Ignorance might feel comfortable, but it comes at a steep cost. But hold on, because beyond environmental catastrophe, this trumpet carries an even deeper symbolism. It calls out what happens when humanity starts worshiping creation and forgets the Creator. Gives you chills, doesn't it? How often are we more in love with status, consumption, and comfort than with the spiritual essence that gives life true meaning? This isn't just a biblical narrative. This is real life knocking at your door. If you think this is just some theological talk, let me challenge you further. Look around. How many times have you found yourself more concerned with material things than with your own soul? How many times has your social media feed numbed you, while the sky, both literal and spiritual, is already flashing warning signs? The apocalypse isn't just a future event. It's an urgent invitation to reflect and transform. The seven trumpets are sounding, and the first note is already vibrating through our daily choices. Here's the crazy part. This first trumpet echoes ancient judgments too. Remember the plagues in Egypt during Exodus? Yeah. History has this nasty habit of repeating itself. We neglect, we exploit, we destroy, and then we act surprised when the consequences come knocking. Can you ignore it? Sure. But trust me, the cost, it's coming whether we're ready or not. So here's a simple yet powerful practice I invite you to try. Turn everything off for a few minutes today. Go to a park, a garden, even just sit under a tree. Silence everything. Feel, observe creation. And ask yourself, what am I doing to honor this gift I've been given? This small habit, done daily, could spark a transformation far bigger than you realize. This isn't self-help fluff. This is real, spiritual transformation, urgent and necessary. But hold tight, because believe it or not, this is just the beginning. the second trumpet of the apocalypse. Oh, that one unveils a scene that few are prepared to face. What comes next could literally change everything you thought you understood about the sea and about this world. All right, brace yourself for this. What if I told you that something as massive as a fiery mountain crashing into the sea isn't just a scene from Revelation, but a warning that mirrors the world we live in today? Yeah, it sounds wild. But when the seven trumpets continue to echo in the apocalypse, the second blast brings devastation to the oceans. A third of the sea turns to blood. A third of marine life dies. A third of ships are destroyed. Hard to imagine? Not really, if you open your eyes to what's already unfolding around us. Ever noticed how the oceans, the very lungs of our planet, are gasping for air? Massive oil spills, floating islands of plastic, dead zones where nothing survives. Sound familiar? This trumpet feels less like an ancient curse and more like a headline from today. And yet, most people scroll past, numb, disconnected. But let me ask you, how disconnected can we really afford to be when the very waters that sustain life are crying out for help? Hold that thought, because the symbolism here cuts even deeper. The sea turning to blood isn't just about ecological disaster. It's a mirror to how humanity pollutes, not just the oceans, but its own soul. Greed, exploitation, wars over resources. It's all connected. It's a wake-up call, not just for governments or corporations, but for you, for me, for anyone who dares to look beyond the surface. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what does this have to do with me sitting here watching this video? Oh, friend, everything. Every choice you make, what you consume, how you live, what you support, ripples out. You may not be able to stop a fiery mountain from falling, but you can stop feeding the systems that slowly poison our planet and our spirits. That's where real power begins. Let's get real for a second. When was the last time you reflected on your own consumption? On the waste you produce, the habits you support, the narratives you believe? This second trumpet isn't just cosmic judgment. It's an invitation to clean the waters of your own life. Maybe it starts with something simple, reducing waste, being intentional with what you support, or even detoxing from toxic media that clutters your soul. And here's something few talk about. This trumpet might also symbolize the emotional and spiritual shipwrecks in our lives. Ever felt like everything was sinking? Like no matter how hard you try, you're drowning in chaos? Yeah, that's no accident. The apocalypse, through the seven trumpets, isn't just forecasting the end. It's diagnosing the present. It's shining a light on what's broken, so it can be healed. But don't think for a second that it ends here. No. What comes next? Oh friend, the third trumpet will strike where it hurts the most. Right at the source of what keeps us alive. If you thought the sea turning to blood was unsettling, wait until you hear about the waters we drink turning bitter. Stay with me, because what's coming might just change how you see the entire apocalypse. And yourself. Now, what if I told you that even the water you drink could become a source of suffering, physically and spiritually? Sounds dramatic, right? But when the seven trumpets continue their echo in Revelation, the third blast unleashes something terrifying. A blazing star called wormwood falls from the sky. Rivers, springs, turn bitter, poisonous. Countless lives are lost because the very source of life becomes contaminated. Chilling, isn't it? But is this just future prophecy, or are we already sipping this bitterness today? Let's be honest. Look around. How many communities today suffer because their water is undrinkable? Polluted rivers, poisoned springs, contaminated wells. It's happening. Right now. This isn't just about environmental decay. It's a reflection of how humanity poisons both the earth and its own soul. Every toxic lie, every false teaching, every distorted belief, it's spiritual pollution. And yeah, it's a lot closer to home than we like to admit. But wait, it goes even deeper. Wormwood isn't just a symbol of bitter water. It's the consequence of consuming what was never meant to nourish us. Think about it. How often do we feed our minds and hearts with negativity, fear, manipulation? believing half-truths, following distorted narratives. The apocalypse, through this trumpet, whispers a hard truth. What you consume eventually consumes you. Let me hit you with this. How's the quality of the water in your own life? No, not just the literal water, but your spiritual, emotional, and mental streams. Are they pure? Or are they bitter, poisoned by cycles of resentment, doubt, fear, or hopelessness? Because here's the thing. This trumpet isn't just a cosmic event. It's a mirror. And if you're brave enough to look, it has answers. Now, here's something practical. Start a daily detox, not just physically, but spiritually. Disconnect from toxic content. Limit what drains your energy. Choose what uplifts your spirit. Read something that nourishes the soul. Meditate, pray, journal. Ask yourself every day, am I drinking from a bitter spring or from living water? Simple habits, but life-changing. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, yeah, that's understandable. But here's the beauty. Recognizing the bitterness is the first step toward healing. The third trumpet doesn't just expose the problem, it invites transformation, an awakening, a shift from surviving to truly living. You're not powerless in this, but don't get too comfortable yet, because what comes next will shake the very skies above us. The fourth trumpet? Oh, when it sounds, even the sun, moon, and stars won't escape. Brace yourself, because when the heavens go dark, it's not just about the sky, it's about the soul. And trust me, you'll want to hear this. Now, imagine this. You wake up one day and the sun isn't shining like it used to. The moon, barely visible. Stars, fading into nothing. Sounds like a sci-fi nightmare, right? But when the seven trumpets continue to sound in Revelation, the fourth blast sends a chilling message. The very lights in the sky are struck. A third of the sun, moon, and stars go dark. The apocalypse gets personal and cosmic. And friend, this darkness isn't just out there. It's already creeping into our world and into our lives. Think about it. Ever felt like the days are shorter, the nights heavier, and time itself feels broken? Welcome to the fourth trumpet's shadow. Climate chaos, disrupted seasons, natural rhythms collapsing. But beyond the physical, this darkness mirrors the confusion, anxiety, and spiritual disorientation that so many feel today. It's like walking through life without a map, constantly searching for light that seems just out of reach. But hold on, because there's something deeper hiding here. This isn't just cosmic weather, it's symbolic. Darkness descends when humanity rejects the light of truth, when it chooses confusion over clarity, distraction over purpose, fear over faith. It's no coincidence that depression, loneliness, and existential crisis are skyrocketing. The darkness of the fourth trumpet is no longer just prophecy, it's experience. Now let me ask you, how's your inner sky? Is it bright, clear, or are the clouds of doubt, anxiety, and overwhelm blocking your view? Because whether we like it or not, what happens in the spiritual mirrors what happens in the physical. And if your personal universe feels dim, maybe it's time to reignite that inner light. The question is, how? Here's a practical step. Start guarding your mind like you guard your home. Who do you let in? What thoughts do you entertain? What content do you consume? Every day, intentionally seek light, whether it's through prayer, meditation, uplifting conversations, or time in nature. Small actions, massive impact. And remember, this trumpet isn't just about warning, it's about awakening. The darkness comes, but it also invites the desperate search for light. And sometimes, it's in the deepest dark that we finally recognize how badly we need the source of all light. You don't have to stay lost. The map still exists. You just have to pick it back up. But listen carefully, because the next trumpet, it takes a terrifying turn. When the fifth trumpet sounds, it's not just about darkness. No, something far more sinister rises from the depths. And what's unleashed, well, let's just say it's not for the faint of heart. Stay with me, because you need to hear this. Brace yourself, because what I'm about to tell you sounds like something straight out of a nightmare. Picture this. A star falls from heaven, and with it, a key that unlocks the abyss. Smoke pours out, and from the smoke, swarms of terrifying, locust-like creatures. This isn't some horror movie plot. It's the fifth trumpet of the Seven Trumpets in Revelation. And what rises from the abyss? Oh, it's not just physical torment. It's spiritual warfare at its peak. Let's be real. Ever felt like life suddenly got heavier? Like an invisible fog surrounds you. Confusion, anxiety, restlessness, and fear without explanation? That's no accident. The smoke from the abyss symbolizes more than just darkness. It's spiritual suffocation. People lose clarity, hope fades, and unseen forces start messing with the mind and heart. The apocalypse isn't waiting for some far-off future. It's already pressing in. But wait, it gets darker. These locust-like creatures aren't just any bugs. They're described as tormentors, demonic forces that don't kill but make life unbearable. For how long? 5 months. And here's the terrifying part. They only target those who don't carry the seal of God. Translation? This isn't random. Chaos. It's targeted spiritual oppression, a wake-up call for anyone drifting far from the source. Let me pause and ask, ever been in a season where no matter what you do, peace feels impossible? Where everything seems to spiral and you can't even explain why? That, my friend, is the abyss whispering, the smoke clouding your vision. And if you felt it, you are not alone. The fifth trumpet reveals what's often hidden, an invisible battle that impacts very real lives. So, what's the antidote? Simple, but not easy. Strengthen your spiritual seal. Build habits that anchor you. Daily prayer, meditation, surrounding yourself with truth, cutting ties with things that drain your spirit. It's not about religion. It's about survival, spiritual survival. Because when the abyss opens, the only thing that keeps you standing is what's sealed inside you. And let's not forget, the abyss has a king, Abaddon, Apollyon, the destroyer. A chilling reminder that evil isn't just abstract, it's organized, intentional, and relentless. But here's the twist. Darkness never has the final word. Even in this trumpet, those sealed by the Creator are untouchable. The battle is fierce, but not hopeless. But hold tight, because if you thought this was the worst, you're not ready for what's next. The sixth trumpet, it unleashes something so catastrophic, so massive, that it makes the abyss look like a warm-up. What's coming could change the course of humanity itself. Stay close. You need to hear this. Take a deep breath, because what I'm about to share is one of the most unsettling parts of the Seven Trumpets in Revelation. Imagine this. 4 angels, bound at the great river Euphrates, are released. And when they are, chaos is unleashed. A massive army, 200 million strong, rises. The result? A third of humanity gone. Not by accident, by fire, smoke, and sulfur. It sounds unthinkable, right? But look around. Maybe the seeds of this are already being planted. Think about it. The Euphrates isn't just a geographical place. It's a historic boundary between civilizations, empires, and conflicts. Wars brewing, tensions rising in regions like modern-day Iraq, Syria, and Iran. And beyond that, a spiritual war raging worldwide. The apocalypse isn't just telling us about literal armies. It's exposing spiritual forces behind the chaos of nations and of human hearts. But here's the most disturbing part. Even after witnessing mass death and unspeakable suffering, humanity refuses to repent. Let that sink in. It's like watching the world burn and still clinging to the very things that caused the fire. Addiction to greed, power, violence, and pride. Sounds eerily familiar, doesn't it? Just open your news feed. It's all there. Now pause for a moment. Have you ever seen someone, maybe even yourself, stuck in a pattern of self-destruction, knowing it's harmful, but unable to stop? That's the spiritual reflection of this trumpet. It's not just about nations at war, it's about inner wars, the battles inside us that destroy relationships, dreams, and even souls if left unchecked. So what do we do when the world feels like it's falling apart? We start where we can. Strengthen your spiritual armor. Cultivate peace in your own home, your own mind. Practice radical forgiveness. Speak life where there's death. Be a peacemaker in a world addicted to conflict. That's how you resist the spiritual armies that seek to devour. And let's be real. This trumpet isn't just a warning. It's a heartbreak, a divine grief over a humanity that chooses destruction over redemption. But even in the darkest chapters, the invitation remains open. The Creator's hand is still extended, the door still unlocked for now. But hold on, because after all this devastation, something completely shifts. The seventh trumpet? Oh, it doesn't bring more judgment. No, it brings an announcement, one that will shake both heaven and earth. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now, imagine this. After all the chaos, the darkness, the war, and the torment, suddenly, everything stops. Silence. And then, a voice thunders from heaven. The kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of our Lord and of His Christ. This is the sound of the seventh trumpet in the seven trumpets of Revelation. And no, it's not another disaster. It's the greatest announcement in the history of existence. The apocalypse shifts from judgment to victory. Picture this. The heavens erupt in celebration. Angels singing. Elders falling on their faces in worship. Why? Because the waiting is over. God's kingdom is now fully established. Every corrupt system, every empire built on greed, injustice, and exploitation collapses. The Creator takes the throne. It's no longer about warnings. It's fulfillment. And the weight of that is overwhelming. But pay attention, because this isn't just about the distant future. It's a reality that starts now, inside you. Every time you choose light over darkness, love over hate, truth over deception, you align yourself with that eternal kingdom. The apocalypse isn't just about the end of the world. It's about the end of everything that separates you from the divine. And there's more. As this trumpet sounds, something sacred appears. The Ark of the Covenant, revealed in the heavenly temple, a symbol that God's promises were never broken. A reminder that every tear, every struggle, every prayer whispered in the dark was heard. This is the ultimate proof that no suffering was in vain. The battle may have been brutal, but the victory is beautiful. Let me ask, deep down, don't you crave this kind of justice? A world where the corrupt are dismantled, where truth reigns, where peace isn't just a dream but reality? That's the promise of this trumpet. But here's the twist. It starts within. The question isn't, when will the kingdom come? But am I ready to be part of it right now? So what do we do with this? Simple. Live like the kingdom is already here. Walk in integrity. Forgive radically. Love fiercely. Detach from what corrupts your soul. Anchor your identity not in the systems of this world, but in the truth that never shakes. Because when heaven sounds this trumpet, it's not just an announcement, it's a call. And friend, while this may be the last trumpet, oh, it's not the end. No, it's the beginning of something so much greater than we've ever known. Because the apocalypse, it was never about destruction. It was always about restoration. So now, let me ask you, after everything you've seen, after everything you've heard, what will you do with this knowledge? Because here's the truth. The seven trumpets of the apocalypse aren't just ancient prophecies. They're a mirror. A mirror reflecting not just the condition of the world, but the condition of our own souls. Look around. Can you really say that the signs aren't already echoing all around us? Or maybe the real question is, have the trumpets been sounding and we've simply chosen not to hear them? Let me ask you something deeper. Are you living like someone awake, aware, aligned with the truth? Or are you drifting, letting the noise of the world drown out the voice that's calling you back? Because the choice has never been clearer, and yet, most still ignore it. If this message stirred something in your spirit, if even a part of this opened your eyes, then don't let it stop here. Let's walk this journey together. hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, not because of the algorithm, but because here we seek truth together every single week. And now, I leave the question with you. Do you believe that the seven trumpets are already sounding? Or are you still waiting to hear them? Let me know in the comments. I'm reading, I'm listening. And remember, the apocalypse, it was never just about endings. It was always about awakening.